Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Creative Kloud. Amanda here. Before we delve into the video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and most importantly share. With me today I have artistic people. To my left I have Anakaa. She's into painting and everything artsy. And then I have Uchenna. He's also an artist. And then I have Nana. She is into doll fashion, which is a little bit unusual, but then we'll get to know more about it. And she's also does a little bit of craft. So happy Independence Day, people.
Same to you.
Yeah. So before we move on, Nigeria is 59 years old today. So how do you feel?
Wow, 59 years, that's a long time since celebrating independence. And there's a lot of ups and downs, but you know, Nigerian, just like Fela said, we are always optimistic despite the odds. You know, we believe somehow that we are going to get there. So I'm guessing that I'm urging everybody to get ready for the work to be done, because the future can be brighter and better.
Yeah. Okay, so before we continue with the video, right?
Yeah.
We're going to come up with a safe word. And now the reason why we're coming up with that safe word is because often at times people tend to go on and on. Even myself, I can tend to go on and on. So you give a safe word and then I mention the safe word. Just know that it's time to round up what you're saying. So let's form a safe word together. Should we use fruits, colors, food?
Colors.
Okay.
Red.
Red.
Okay.
Do you agree red?
How about cranberries?
Cranberry, red.
Red is fine. Yeah.
Red. Okay, red is fine. So, ladies, how do we feel about Nigeria?
Well, I feel Nigeria is a blessed country. We're really, really blessed with many natural resources and human resources, but we'll get there someday.
There's a but
Okay,
there.
so do you feel like Nigeria actually promotes creativity?
Yeah, I feel there's a lot of creative people out
On
there.
a scale of 1 to 10?
I'll say 8.
8.
Yeah.
I wish it's 8 because the funny thing is, sometimes I don't know if it covers all areas, but then sometimes we find out that when people go out to maybe buy art or buy sculptures or buy things, it's mostly, even in Nigeria, it's mostly the white people or foreigners buying people's work. But then we locals, we actually don't buy these works. So would we still say on a scale of 1 to 10, it's 8?
Yeah,
Yes.
I would say that because things have changed. Art is more appreciated now in Nigeria. It was not like before, when if you say you want to study art or you're an artist or you want to be a musician or an actress or a footballer, people look at you like, you need to go to school and study law or, medicine. Or it's not like that anymore. People in the arts are making money, they're advancing, and everything is going on well. So I don't think people are so skeptical about their children studying
Art.
anything in the arts.
So for you, your parents were not skeptical when you went into
they're
So
not.
how did you start?
Well, in fact, I was always coming first in every art course from primary school, secondary school, till I got to university. And then my dad saw that when I was going to write JAMB, I chose business administration.
Okay.
But my dad said I should choose fine arts. I knew I was very good with art, but I said, well, I'm already good with art. I just want to do something different from, this. But he said, you've been taking first in all your arts courses from primary school to secondary school, and now you want to go to university. I'm telling you to choose art, and you're telling me you want to go for business administration. It happened. I wrote the JAMB. I still chose business administration first because that's what I wanted to do, and then fine arts second. But when and my JAMB was pretty good because I scored 200 and something, over 220. So I still got fine art.
Oh, interesting.
Yes.
So for your undergrad, you did fine arts, and then for your
Yes.
masters, because I know you're doing a PhD now.
Yes.
In art. So for your masters, you did art.
Yeah, I did masters in art, and then,
And then-
my PhD I'm doing.
So it's like a long stretch because you did undergrad art, and then now like you did masters art, and now you're doing. Isn't it like a long stretch?
Well, to me, it's
Or
not
is it
that,
because you have the passion, so it doesn't really feel?
to me it's not that long because after school I got into business.
Yeah.
Yeah, I first of all started working with telecoms with Globacom. I worked with Globacom for a while. Then I moved into printing, branding, advertising,
Yeah.
and then before I now went back and did my masters, and then now I'm doing PhD. So to me, it's not so long. I've delved into different aspects of
Interesting. So Nana, tell us like why doll fashion? How did you even get into that? Because it's not. Do you make dolls?
No, I don't.
Okay, because it's
But-
not. It might be common, yes,
Yeah.
but then in Nigeria, it's not really.
I know. I know.
So why doll fashion?
I,
How did you even get into
for me, right from when I was small, I always make clothes and dolls. Like when I even later on, when I was a bit older, when I go to my friend's house and I see the kids like seeing dolls with no clothes on, and then I'm like, oh, I can make something for it. So I'll just pick it up and I'm like, okay. So from there, like my little cousins, all of them always coming up to me, oh, please can you make clothes for my doll, make clothes for my doll. So I started doing that. From there, I started with the doll houses as well, craft. And then eventually craft, other things came into place. But right from when I was small, I've always been like into art, drawing, sketching and things. So it's all been like part of me.
So how long have you been doing it for? Do you do okay? So you do it professionally now?
I do, yeah. I do the craft thing professionally,
So
like
how
for
long
photo
have you been
shoots.
doing the craft thing professionally?
I would say 3 years. It wasn't planned to do it professionally actually. I was just making I was trying out this craft I saw online, like paper flowers. So that was when Snapchat first came. So I was like, I videoed what I did, and then a friend of mine must have seen the flowers, and she was like, "Oh, please, do you sell this?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And she was like, "Oh, but what if I need? Can you make some for me?" And then she had a baby shower for that weekend, so she was like, "Oh, can you make some for me?" And I was like, "Okay." So I got into it, made the paper flower for the baby shower then, and so the picture actually went viral and stuff. So from there, people started calling me, and that was how it started with the prompts. Like people just come up to me, "Can you make this?" I'm like, "Oh." Once I look at it, I'm like, "Yeah, I could." So from there, and that was how it started for me, really.
So I know you were working in school,
Yeah.
and then you're working as an art teacher, I presume.
Actually.
Oh,
But I do,
really?
yeah. I worked
I
with
actually
SBA.
thought you were working.
Because I did business management. I never did anything. I didn't think I was gonna actually do this for
Yeah.
but later on in school, I started helping out with the notice board and placing things around the school. I do things just generally. It wasn't but I do. They know that I do things for them, like
Yeah.
the wall displays in classes. I do all of that.
So would you say you'd like to open like a mini how do I even put it? Like a craft studio?
Yeah,
craft place?
I would love to. And even during the summer, I organized a few, summer lesson for kids, and the turnout was great. I really enjoyed that. So I was thinking, okay, I could actually have maybe a craft studio. The kids can come in, maybe weekends or something, and learn a bit. So it's something.
That's lovely. That's really, really lovely. So Uchenna, I met you at Gab, and honestly, because okay, so for those of you who don't know, Gab is how do I put it? It's
a gathering of
a gathering of
creatives.
yeah, creatives. It's a gathering of creatives, and then we come with, let's say, they pull up a question for the day, and then everybody just contributes, and then we have people who are doing poetry, singing, rapping, and all sorts. And as the conversation was going on, he was sketching out everything. So all the points that were being made, everything, he was sketching out everything into a sheet of paper, and then by the time he came out, like all the ideas that were said were literally on that board, and I was like, wow. I definitely have to I have to call him because it was mind blowing. So how did you get into, or how did you even start? Or have you been doing it since you were younger, or did you go to school?
I've always loved stories and pictures, and illustrations. So whenever I see them, I'm always attracted to them. I'm like, one day I'm going to learn this. I was actually taught how to draw by, I think it's an architect, stays around me when I was a little boy. So the guy makes drawings and all. I'm like, how do I get to? Because I've tried drawing at a time, but came up with some crappy stuff. I just wanted to get to like to translate what's in my head out there. But the guy asked me to get a sketch pad, get a pen, and start making mistakes and all that. So which was what I did.
By the way, sorry to cut you short. This art piece here is actually by Uchenna. So
Yeah.
this is something similar to what he did at Gab, but it was two people. Like
Yeah.
he was literally illustrating like a conversation. So two people having a conversation, and then all the ideas that people brought up that day, he
Yes.
put it in
And
there. So
something about the style is that it's actually a style that I came up with after maybe working for some years, practicing, trying to experiment.
yeah.
Because at the time I grew tired of painting the tradition, maybe drawing and painting the traditional way, and I grew tired of people looking at my work, and they'll maybe associate another person to it, that kind of stuff. So, and I actually went inside myself and started thinking about the elements of art. Then I thought lines. What can I do with lines?
Yeah.
You understand? So I started working with lines. It took some time before I started getting some nice combinations, which after some time translated to this. I call it Horiveti. It's drawing with horizontal and vertical lines.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice. That's actually very nice name.
Yeah.
So what inspires your creativity to everyone? What inspires your creativity?
Yeah, like it's what I see, images, things around me, what I see on the news, or my timeline, or maybe sometimes I ride the bus just to like get the feel of the people, what they're talking about, and so I think I find stories in all these things, and I try to like.
So you're surrounding your environment. So what inspires your creativity?
Well, basically, anything can just trigger my creativity because most of the time I don't plan on, okay, I'm going to draw this or I'm going to paint this. So it's when I start painting, then ideas start coming. Okay, why don't you add this? Why don't you add this? Why don't you add this? Because I feel any planned work, it kind of limits the artist. Because if you say, this is how I'm going to draw these boxes like this, draw it on a small paper and now transfer it into a big paper, you'll be limited by.
How do you know when a piece is done?
A piece is never done.
Yeah.
A piece is never done till the artist says, I want to leave it like that. Yes. You
So
can't-
how
Just
do
like
you
your baby, you can finish training your child.
Okay, what inspires before we even continue, what inspires your creativity?
I think
Especially when it comes to your dollhouses, because there was one time I saw it on your WhatsApp story, and that's actually what made me reach out to you, because I'm like, what? I can't believe this. She literally used like normal cardboard stuff used to like pack in different things, and then the end product was a dollhouse, and I was like, what? A dollhouse? No, it actually blew my mind, because she even drew like fake food, all those things, and it was so amazing. So what actually inspires you when you do pieces like that?
I'll say beautiful because I love anywhere beautiful, anything beautiful. So once I see that, like when I go out and I see a place, I'm like, oh, I just look closely. I'm like, I can do this. I can create something, even if I can have it for myself, at least let me create it for door and see what it's like. So when I go out, so the things I see around actually inspire me.
So do you sell them?
No, not for now, basically, because actually I've sold like two, I would say, but there's ugly market for it now. But I just do it.
Would you
And
say you maybe in the nearest future would actually create stuff and then put them online for
yeah, I
sale?
don't mind.
Already
Yeah, I
made
would.
dollhouses.
Yes.
So have you ever thought of using maybe matchsticks and the rest?
Never thought of it, but I'm thinking, there are some things you can actually use that for. Maybe when you're trying to create like a chair or something, you can use a craft stick, just those ones. But you can use matchstick. It depends on what you're creating at the time. You just be like, oh, you can use this. Just look for something around the house that you could use. Because most of the things I do, I look for things around the house I can use, like boxes. I look at a pack of biscuits and I'm like, oh yeah, I can make something out of this. So
So are you open to holding, let's say, classes for people who are interested, not for children,
yeah, for older people.
for older people?
Although I haven't done
Right.
any yet, but yeah, I can.
Yeah. Okay, so to the artists in the house, how do you name your art pieces?
Who wants to go?
So when you're done, how do you name it?
Sometimes, maybe it depends. Some art pieces are like sometimes I do commissions. Some people might commission me to do a certain stuff, so I know when I'm done. But like my own, like when I'm expressing myself, like telling my own stories, it's really hard. You know, sometimes I just have to like say, okay, let me just give it this. Most of my titles are like placeholders, actually. You know, they're like placeholders because I can't really say that I'll have the perfect title for a work, but I have a theme. Maybe let me say my theme is like child trafficking or human trafficking. I have that at my mind. I can now work, research, render my artwork. But at the end of the day, I can just pick a name for it, or maybe when people are talking about the artwork, or when I'm in conversation, I can just pick anything. Yeah,
How
but
do
to me, they are just like placeholders.
Okay, so how do you pick your art pieces?
Basically, I work with themes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
is it safe to say all artists work with things?
No, not all artists work
Okay.
with teams. Not all artists work with teams. For example, if there's an exhibition and there's a name or a theme for the exhibition, I work with the theme of the exhibition. If I'm doing a series of paintings, for example, I did like two different series. The first one was a lion series. The lion. I did the lion. I did the lion and the lamb. And then I did the lion and the eagle. The lion on eagle's wings and all that. So with that, it's easier to, name your artworks. But sometimes you just paint something and a title just comes.
It just comes, like it just comes.
Yeah.
So funny story. I actually went to okay, I've forgotten the name, but you might probably know it or you might actually know it. It's at National Art Theatre. They have like an art space there. So I actually used to go there to draw. I used to draw before actually. I was so interested in it. Yeah. I was so interested. And then I went there and I learned how to draw. Okay, I knew how to draw, but I was just enhancing. And then I think everybody's learning process is a bit different. Yeah. So when I got there, I expected to maybe try my hands in different areas. But then I was made to draw portraits for a very long, no, still life, for a very long time. And it was just a little bit, I couldn't take it because concentration is really hard for me. So I was drawing the same thing week after week after week after week after week. And and then I think they now saw that, okay, I was beginning to get a little bit, I don't know, maybe bored, and maybe the zeal I had was like reducing. Yeah. So they had to put me into like what do you call it now? Do you call it like real life?
Yeah, figurative.
Yeah. So I started doing that, but then at some point, I think so. I thought they were just going to spread me around. Okay, try this, and then you come back and you pick what you want to do. Yeah. And then I was waiting for them to say, okay, try painting, and they didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, let me just chill a little bit. Now I was waiting for them to say try sculpturing, but they didn't say anything. And then that's how I just
because art is very fast. A lot of different types of areas of art that you can specialize: illustration, painting, what she does, and
oh, by the way, she made this for me. You just want this. Thank you. So it's a very, very cute notepad. Very cute. She actually made a card for my friend's boyfriend on his birthday, and it looked like a real gamepad. I was so surprised. But yeah, her work is really amazing. So for artists, how would you say they should push their work forward? Because if I'm an artist now and then maybe I just finished learning under someone
Yeah.
and I'm done. You know, people don't really like you charging them when they feel like you're just a beginner. So how do I push my work forward?
Well, there are a lot of ways. You can use social media. You can, people can refer you.
But how do you even get that referral? Because some people might just not refer you.
Okay, basically, you get referrals when you do works for people, when you
So
commission
how do you
works
even
for
get to
people.
do works for people?
Well, you can start with making free small works. When they know you, okay, I do this, I do this, I do this. Or if you don't want to give out your works, you can make works and post them on your page, on Instagram,
Yeah.
Facebook, what's it called, Twitter.
Okay.
And then
Social
people see and then call you, please, oh, I saw your post, can you do this for me?
So you start doing
Then
free
you
stuff
start
at
doing,
first, and then by the time someone says that, okay, this one is actually not that bad, they now start charging little by little, or you just go in and just charge like your main fee.
The thing is that
you
there's
can go in
only,
and charge. It depends. You can go in and charge.
Like my first work, as I said, like my friend saw, I didn't charge her a lot because I didn't even know how much it was going to cost me. I was like, okay, whatever you can, just give me. And I can remember her paying me just a little token. But I was happy doing it because it was something I enjoyed doing anyway.
Yeah.
So even then, even when I started, I wasn't still charging a lot. But my friends were like, okay, you need to know what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Calculate this thing.
Yeah.
So from there,
So do you plan on creating dolls?
on creating those, I thought of it at the time. Like, I think how. Yeah.
So how, let's say in 5 years,
Yeah.
where do you think the whole thing will be?
I think it will be bigger than this by God's grace, and hopefully I would have my own doll collection.
So we should look forward to your doll collection.
Yes,
And then we should look forward to a mini art studio
yes, definitely that
for
one.
like both
Definitely come
adults
first
and
for-
young children.
For kids, yeah.
Yes. Okay. That's lovely. That's lovely. So when you go for exhibitions and all sorts, is it very hard? Maybe you spent a week on an art piece and someone buys it off you. I know, yes, money is good, but do you feel sad? Or maybe, let's say, one week, maybe you spend like a whole month creating
Yeah.
something. To all of you, to like creating something, do you
Yeah.
feel sad? Like, oh, I've spent a lot of time creating this thing, and then now someone has bought it. Money is good, yes, I know, but
yeah.
remove the money aspect. So someone has bought it, and then I just feel sad parting away with something I've spent so much time doing.
yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, people
like
get
Do you like
emotionally attached.
yeah.
you create something and you don't want to let go. You're like, oh, but what I did was take pictures and just have it, and, you know,
Yeah, but in the
just
first
have
place,
it there.
in the first place, you created in creating artworks. An artist has, you need to have this will to like share your art, because most of the big ups an artist gets is when people remove the money, because money is just like an after effect of whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Most of the what most artists like is when you maybe appreciate the artwork. You're like, yeah, I love this, you know, that kind
Yeah.
of
I
thing.
saw
Like when we during my earlier years coming up in the practicing art, I gave maybe I gave out a lot of artworks on the strength of, wow, I love that. I'm like, you love this? Okay, get it, you know. So after a while, I realized I'm not making money and all that, you know. So that's when the professionalism started coming in. So I started thinking, let me go into seminars and thinking about my art, you know, going to exhibitions, studying other maybe successful
Yeah.
artists.
Okay, so how do you balance 9 to 5 and being an artist? Like, because everyone here is an artist, so how do you balance it? So if you have like a piece that's supposed to be due this week, and you're going to work every single day.
It's actually very,
Well, creative minds do not sleep.
because your passion.
So, yeah.
Passion is not, you can't buy it in the market.
Never
It's
sleep.
something that you have or you don't have it. You know, that's sleepless nights. Those are things that you do willingly.
Yeah.
Though it might take some.
But there's some people who say, because I want to start something, I'm going to quit my job, and then I'm just going to focus on this thing.
Yeah,
you think-
it's cool too.
Do you
But
think
knowing,
that's also a good way? Because some people, I've realized that when they do that, then maybe they don't have money they don't have anything actually backing them up financially.
Yeah.
So do you think that's like always the right way to go, or do you think
Just to
Once you-
follow your heart, just to follow your heart. And also, we live in a society where, like, the government really doesn't do much to, like, support the arts, apart from what people are doing in the private sector.
yeah,
If not, people can comfortably say, let me just practice art solely.
full time?
Yeah, exactly. Just like they do in other countries. But in Nigeria here, if you practice art solely, either you have some people backing you up, some big wigs with money or that, or you have to, like, work for some time,
And then
save your money, and be spending time, sleepless nights and all that.
Okay, so do you guys feel like you're going to go into art full time?
Yeah.
Like not have any 9 to 5, nothing, just going full time and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then this is the only thing I'm going to do.
I don't think so, because to the best of my ability, I would find every means of making income. Do you understand? To the best of my ability, it's good to have different streams of income coming.
Yeah.
You can't say, okay, I'm an artist, so I'm going to only do art, or I'm a this.
Yeah.
You're limiting yourself.
Yeah. And also, when we define art and say art, we need to know what we're talking about, because also making money is art too.
Yeah.
How?
Creativity.
Explain.
Knowing how to, like, put businesses together, that's
It's
creativity too.
Okay.
Putting papers, like the way you do, knowing things that match. It's the same way with someone knowing that there's a supply and demand here, bring it together.
Exactly.
Which is-
Just like he said, creativity is when you conceive that idea. When you conceive, a creative person doesn't just stop at being creative. After conceiving the idea, you move into innovation
Yes,
by
how to carry it
implementing
out.
the idea.
Exactly.
But okay,
After
I
implementing
had a
it-
conversation on Sunday. So I went for a show. I had a conversation on Sunday with some people, and then they were talking about how, you start on a small scale, and then you're doing really well. Because when you're doing by passion, like everything that comes out is just so beautiful. And then when money now comes in, when you start getting money from it, people, like, the passion dies down. The 100% that you give isn't 100% anymore. Maybe you give like 80, 70, 60 or something. So this money talk, is it still valid?
It is.
Because at the end of the day, it's a process. The artist you are, or you were when you were maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, is not the artist you are now.
Exactly.
You keep.
Like all those artists now, they don't even spend time on their work again. They'll just take pen or color and just splash. No, truly. And they'll now call, if you go now, they'll tell you $100.
Yeah,
$100,000.
because that person has found a niche.
Exactly.
He has found some people that maybe actually buys into that. So it takes some level of creativity to even do that too.
Okay, quickly. So what's the hardest part when you're trying to create a piece?
My hardest part is starting.
So why is it hard?
But when I start,
But why is
That's
starting
it, yeah.
hard?
starting is hard because it's hard to decide what I actually want to do.
You
Do
have
you
to pick a
understand?
topic.
Yeah. So starting is
It's really hard.
sometimes I want to start a painting, I just keep pushing. Okay, no. I just push. But by the time I start,
Okay, so
I guess
what's the hardest,
The hardest part, starting, as you said, but I think time as well, because you hardly have time to do because there are a lot of things in one's head, and you're trying to put that, and you have other people saying, do this, do that. So the time, I think it's actually the time.
Okay, so quickly, when creating a dollhouse, when do you know you're done creating a dollhouse? Is it when you're satisfied?
When I'm satisfied, because you still see me putting one little piece there, here and there, here and there. But once I'm satisfied, once I look at it and say, okay, yeah, it's nice.
Sometimes you might think that's one thing about art. Sometimes you might think that you're done. Then you go out,
come
back.
something, and then
as she said, do you know sometimes my hardest part is the signature. I have written, as I've signed like over 10 times, I'll clean it out. I know, I don't like this signature.
Was it
And
your
I say
normal
it's too big,
signature?
and I'll clean it. It's too small, and I'll clean it.
It's just
the rough brush.
just little.
Yeah, so that always happens to me.
Okay, nice, lovely. Okay, we're actually off. Okay, So thank you very much. Unfortunately, we actually had to end here. I have like a lot more to ask, but then we're running out of time. So maybe we'll have you on in the nearest future. But then thank you for coming on. I really had fun. Lovely chats, lovely conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you very much for watching this episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And most importantly, share. Their handles will be in the description below.